SeaWorld San Antonio has a decent, though not great, coaster collection. For years, this SeaWorld had the most roller coasters of any SeaWorld park. But since the debut of Icebreaker at SeaWorld Orlando, it has fallen well behind in its coaster count. Depending on one's taste though, especially considering the young and family demographics that this park caters to, any coaster in this park could be your favorite, though there is a strong top 2. So, how do I rank these coasters? Find out in this countdown. Number 7, Great White. I'm not a fan of B&M inverts and Batman the Ride clones, so most enthusiasts will rank this much higher, though this is one of the least popular coasters at this park, partly because of its high capacity and partly because of its inversions. The 2 vertical loops are strong and forceful, and the grass underneath you is a nice visual, though not really relating to sharks. There is mild station theming to this effect, which is better than most SeaWorld coasters, so this is nice to see. That final inversion sequence just beats me up too much to be enjoyable though. And I did really try to give this coaster an extra chance this year, only for it to continue to beat me up just way too much. Defunct Super Grover's Boxcar Derby. This coaster was removed as part of the rebranding of the Bay of Play into Rescue Junior, but it provided a great kiddie coaster for those scared of larger rides, and is the only coaster at this park that my wife has ridden. With a decent drop, the beauty of this coaster was the twisted turn after the drop, followed by a decent bunny hill, a truly wild and strong element and sequence that made this a better than average kiddie coaster. With the strong crowds of young kids that this park sees, not having a coaster like this is a true miss for the park. Number 6, Wavebreaker the Rescue Coaster. I have ranked this coaster higher, and I did have one really good ride where I was sliding around recently, but it has just not been as impressive for me with many re-rides. The theming is also poorly done, and the show scene is barely working at times. Racing over the water though is an incredible visual, but the forces are actually better for me towards the middle of the train. The hills are also just a bit too high for those scared to ride, so although it is a fun family coaster, it is just not as accessible as it could be, especially with its 48-inch height requirement. With one-train operations, this line can crawl, which is unfortunate as it is easily the most popular coaster at this park due to its family appeal. Number 5, Beach Rescue Racer. This new for 2025 coaster does a lot of things right as a roller coaster. With an elongated bunny hill after the first drop, it feels like that initial drop lasts forever. Then, you're blasted through 3 strong helixes that are some of the best forces that I've felt on similar turns, especially for a roller coaster of this scale. The bunny hill finale is decent, but not great, but does highlight how this coaster throws a nice amount of forces at riders. As a roller coaster, this thing rocks, but as a kiddie coaster, or even a family coaster, it might be just a bit too much, which, given the younger guests that this coaster is designed to please, might make it not as good of a fit as it otherwise should be. Number 4, Journey to Atlantis. This coaster's all about its first drop, as that backwards drop can be really fun. Though with many re-rides, it has lost some of its appeal and charm. With the main drop offering a nice drop and splash as well, this does cool things as a coaster, even if the layout is very basic. The lack of theming is unfortunate for families, but doesn't really hurt the coaster experience, at least in my opinion. Number 3. Barracuda Strike. The pacing for this coaster is incredible, as elements get thrown at you and all give fun and enjoyable forces. By the end, I was getting a little tingle in my tummy from the barrage of solid elements, and couldn't help but coming off thinking that it really is such an enjoyable coaster. I rank this ahead of other family inverts that I've ridden, pulling well ahead of Phoenix Rising and the Big Bad Wolf, as those don't have as strong of a coaster experience. The left side of the train is better, as you will be bent over your lap bar on the final 2 overbanks that keep on the strong forces for the duration of the second half. Plus, the visual of swooping down over the water is just something special. Number 2. Texas Stingray. This Great Coasters International wood coaster gets a lot of praise for its airtime, and the unique airtime gimmick of being thrown side to side in one's car really makes you feel like a stingray flying through the ocean. With a wild layout, this coaster can throw a nice number of punches at riders. However, the restraints can ruin the ride if they are too tight, as they can really limit one's airtime and diminish the entire experience. The first drop is also pretty subpar, but lapping this coaster a lot in 2025 really moved it up my coaster rankings, so it is part of a solid top 2 for this park. Number 1. Steel Eel. This coaster stood as my all-time favorite coaster for years, and its floater airtime over its hills is elite. Towards the back of the train, the whip up and down can hurt, so most guests will prefer sitting towards the front, with the front row giving the best overall experience. This is a one-trick pony for its airtime over those hills, but historically this has been excellent. In late 2024, the Steel Eel received new seatbelts, which are not as worn as the old ones, and this did significantly diminish some of the airtime for me, at least to start last season. In 2026, the Steel Eel has been offering better but incomplete rides. My January ride saw the drop hitting the best it ever has, with a really good first half, whereas my March ride saw the second half hitting great with the bunny hills, but the first half was dialed down. Still, this is a really good airtime machine. Which coaster at SeaWorld San Antonio is your favorite? Do you feel they have a good mix of family and thrill coasters? Which coaster would you add to this park if you could? Let me know, and as always, Kapun Krap.